One night before Yom Kippur Eve, Hans thought he could spend his money on fancy junk and anti-Jewish propaganda and still call himself the victim. He sits down to dinner with his wife and 2 children. The table is thin, the mood is thinner. His wife finally erupts, telling him he wasted what should have fed his own family. He snaps back. She doesn't. She takes the kids and walks out, spitting one last wish over her shoulder, that he would be a Jew and do good deeds in the name of her only God. Hans laughs, proud for exactly 3 seconds. Every light in the house dies at once. Flames bloom in the room like a doorway tearing open. A spiritual figure rises out of the fire, a fiery Jewish artist returned from the dead. His voice is calm, almost disappointed. He asks Hans if he's frightened. Hans can't even answer. The spirit tells him he should be frightened in the presence of the 3 spirits. I am the ghost of Kippur past. A small light clicks on, and the walls become a screen. Hans is forced to watch his own life like a punishment. Synagogues he visited. In 2 of them, he deliberately interrupted the rabbi just to disturb Jews in prayer. In another, he threw stones at Jewish kids wearing a kippah, laughing while they flinched. The room drops into darkness again. Then a tiny fiery vision appears. Hans and his wife, years earlier, smiling, hopeful, walking like 2 people who still had a future. The vision snaps. Hans hangs a poster on the wall that reads, "Adolf Hitler was right." His wife breaks down crying. The ghost turns to him. "Do you feel sadness? Do you feel guilt?" Hans swallows. "Maybe a little bit." The ghost smiles, as if the word maybe is the most dangerous word in the world. "Perhaps this shall convince you, Hans." The flames reshape into history. Israel, 1948. A nation born while enemies swore to wipe Jews off the ground. The ghost tells him what Zionism became, a people trying to survive. Then the ghost asks what Hans would do if someone stole his home by killing his family. Hans laughs. The ghost's face hardens with disgust, but he still takes a deep breath. He steps back into the fire and leaves Hans with a final warning. Midnight. A quiet corner near the city center. I hope the matter will be taken more seriously before judgment comes. Hans walks through the city, empty and silent, toward the center. He finds the corner. It sits directly opposite a synagogue. A voice cuts through the air. Not a shout, not a threat, just a sentence that feels like it was waiting for him. A Jewish spirit appears, like a drunk author, paper book in his right hand and a cup of fresh wine in his left. He offers Hans a drink. Hans refuses. I am the ghost of Kippur present. He leads Hans into the synagogue. It's empty, but it doesn't feel abandoned. The spirit tells him to look at the symbols, the pictures, the beliefs. Then he speaks a line, like a command carved into stone. A Jew must love his neighbor like himself. Ve'ahavta lereaka kamocha. Hans starts crying. He says he wants to go back in time and see the beauty of Jewish prayer with his own eyes. The spirit raises his hand. Light floods the synagogue, brighter than it should be. Joy fills the air like a hidden choir. The sounds of many prayers echo into Hans's ears, as if the walls remember. The spirit leans close. Do you hear it? Hans, terrified but strangely moved, answers through tears.
Yes.
It must enter the heart, the spirit says. Then the light drains away. Shadows crawl back in. Two figures appear, Christian teenage juveniles, thin and hungry-looking. Their names cut through Hans like knives: want and ignorance. The ghost's voice turns colder. Beware. They are the very manifestation of all anti-Semitism the humans have. Want pulls out a knife and grins. Are there any Jews left to consume? Ignorance, shaped like a protester in the streets of New York, shouts, "Are there no Jews to blame for occupation of lands?" Hans is shattered. Tears pour down his face like two waterfalls. He begs for mercy. The spirit makes everything fade, but when Hans steps outside and looks back, the synagogue crumbles into ashes, burned. The spirit explains, almost like a judge reading a sentence. Hans changed, but not enough. Hatred does not vanish just because someone finally feels bad. The synagogue burns in the name of Elohim, the only one ruling everything in the universe's existence. Then the ghost points him deeper into the city. Walk the darkest routes. The ghost of Kippur future, Malach HaMavet, will decide what your soul deserves. The city goes darker. Even the streetlights seem to surrender. Hans moves through alleys that feel like they were built for fear. The city goes darker. Even the streetlights seem to surrender. Hans moves through alleys that feel like they were built for fear. From the blackness steps a hooded figure, a grim reaper holding a scythe. Hans stutters, barely able to speak. Are you the ghost of what may come during this Yom Kippur? I beg of you, have some mercy. The ghost of the future says nothing. He points. A wall becomes a moving shadow. Human shapes celebrate under yellow light. Hans almost smiles, thinking it's his second chance. Then the ghost points to another wall. Men carry Hans's coffin. They dump it into a grave. His wife cries. She whispers about money, about wanting enough to travel to Israel by next year, like her hope is already too late. Hans chokes on his own regret. Is that my future? The ghost teleports him to the graveyard. The air feels like stone. The ghost points to an empty tombstone, waiting. Hans collapses into tears and promises everything. He swears he'll never be the anti-Semite he was. He swears he'll respect Jews, their culture, their traditions. He begs for one last chance. The skeletal finger points again. The tombstone reveals his name, Hans. Then the date of his death appears like a verdict. Below it, the cause of death writes itself. Died from anti-Semitism and hate killed him. Hans screams that he'll become a Jew himself. He promises to keep Shabbat, atone for his heinous crimes, read the Torah every day. The scythe rises. The blade comes down. 1 centimeter from his neck. Comes down 1 centimeter from his neck. Hans jolts awake in his bed, breathing, alive. Not forgiven, not clean, just spared. He sits up and writes a love letter to his wife with shaking hands. Then he runs into the empty streets to find her, because Yom Kippur is coming, and this time the judgment won't be a dream. The journey will be continued.